Hello everyone and welcome back to my class. You know that I am Halimunisa, teacher and junior lecturer of Allahabad High School and Junior College. So in today's class we are discussing the chapter 9, that is dealing with the economic subject first year. Chapter name is Money, Banking and Inflation. So in this chapter there are three parts, parts A, part B, part C, where in part A is dealing with the money, part B is dealing with banking and part C is dealing with inflation. So first we will go with the part A, which is money part. Money with concept, evaluation and types. So first we will see the concept of money here. Money occupies a unique place in any economic system. Exactly. So here the society needs some money for a variety of transactions undertaken by the people and the government in day-to-day life. So here nowadays we cannot imagine a society without role of money. Exactly. This is the concept of money. Now we will see the evaluation of money. Here the term money was derived from the name of goddesses Juno Moneta in Rome. Here the prior to the introduction of money, the barter system was in vogue. So in this system one commodity was exchanged for the another commodity. Exactly, we know this very well. Here money was coined in order to overcome the difficulties of the barter system. Exactly. Here the animals was used in place of money. Slowly, gradually, here the metallic money in form of gold, silver, bronze and nickel replaced it. So in the third stage, here the coins come into use. That was followed by the paper money. So here the latest is the credit money in the form of draft, checks, debit cards, credit cards and etc. are there. So in present form of money has undergone the different stages, namely commodity money, metallic money, paper currency and finally the bank money in the process of evaluation. So all these are the evaluation. Now we will see what is barter system. So here in barter system one commodity was directly exchanged for the another commodity without the use of money here. So it means buying a goods with goods only. In the system no one was able to produce all goods after the disposal. Exactly. They used to exchange the commodities among themselves only. So here a producer of a paddy used to exchange the paddy for clothes from the producer of clothes only. So this system devastated with the several difficulties. Now we will see what are the difficulties of the barter system. Here the difficulties of the barter system may be as lack of store of value, lack of divisibility of commodities, lack of common measure of value, difficulty in making deferred payments. So after the difficulties, now we will see the related concept of money here. So when we discuss about the money, we come across a certain terms like currency, liquidity and near money. So they have a different meanings. These concepts are related to the money. It is necessary to know them clearly without any conceptual. So these assets are close substitutes of money. That's why they are called near money or quasi money. So after this, now we will see the types of money: commodity money and representative money, legal tender money and optional money, metallic money and paper money, standard money and token money, credit money. After the types of money, now we will see the functions of money here. Here money has many important functions to perform. Exactly. So these functions may be classified as primary functions, secondary functions, contingent functions, static and dynamic functions here. So in primary functions of money are really the technical and important functions of money, and there are of two types, and they are medium of exchange and measure of value. Whereas in secondary functions of money has the three secondary functions which are stated like store of value, standard of deferred payment, transfer of money. Whereas in contingent functions of money, besides the primary and the secondary functions, money has the certain contingent functions also. When we see in the static and the dynamic functions of money, here they are classified the functions of money as static functions and dynamic functions. Now after this, now we will see the components of money supply. In this, money supply includes all money in circulation in the economy. So the components of the money supply may vary from country to country. Exactly. Here the money supply consists of currency issued by the central bank, demand deposits created by the commercial banks, So by this we have completed the part A, which is dealing with the money. Now we will discuss part B, which is dealing with the banking here. So first, banking with the commercial banks. So first we will go with the concept of banking. Banking is a business activity in which the money is collected from the public in the form of deposits, and in turn loans are given to the businessman and the industrialist sector are they. So during the 17th century, here the goldsmiths in London used to accept the deposits from the merchants and other for save the custody of money and other valuables. So here they give the receipts for the deposits, and these receipts were used as the means of payment. So they were called as the goldsmiths receipts or warehouse receipts. So here the goldsmiths become the money lender. Here they started the lending money out of the deposits they have, and here the goldsmiths become the banker and used to perform the important functions of banking, that is receiving deposits and the advancing loans. So in the modern system of banking evolved, so here the bank come into the existence and they have been playing a crucial and important role in the economies. Exactly. So that's why they have been providing the credit to the traders and industrialists, agriculturists and others to invest in the productive activities. So this is the concept of banking and how the bankings exist in the modern period. Now we will see the definition of a commercial bank. A bank is a financial institution and it is a profit making business from the dealing with the money. Exactly. Here bank act as a coordinating agencies by the accepting deposits from the customers and in turn the providing the fees funds as loan to business firms and entrepreneurs. Exactly. So here the commercial banks earn profits by the charging higher interest rates on the loans given to the business firms, then they pay the interest to the depositors. Getting here. So here the modern banks in India are joint stocks companies registered under the Indian Companies Act. Get it here. After the definitions of the commercial banks, now we will see the functions of commercial banks here. Here the commercial banks play a very important role in the financial system of an economy. Exactly. They perform a variety of functions like acceptance of deposits. In this, one of the primary function of a commercial bank is to accept the deposits from the public, and the deposits accepted by the bankers are of types like saving deposits and current deposits and term deposits, recurring or cumulative deposits. So all these are in the acceptance of the deposits. Now we will see the payment of loan and advances. Here the another primary functions of the commercial bank is to give the loans and advances to the different sections of the public like traders, industrialists, farmers, artisans, etc. are they. So here the loans and the advances are paid out of the amount of deposits received by the bank from the public and keeping a certain portion of deposits with the bank as per the guidelines of the central bank. Demand loan or call loans, short term loans, cash credits, overdraft, discontinuing of bill of exchange, and at last credit cards. So all these are payments of loans and advances. Now we will see the creation of credit here. Here the commercial banks create a credit. So this is a unique function of the commercial banks. Here the credit is created out of the primary deposits received from the public. So here part of the total amount of these deposits is given as loan and advances to its customers. Whenever the bank grant a loan to a customer, it does not pay the cash but deposits the amount is deposit account. Okay. So here the secondary deposit or derived deposits are created. After the creation of credit, now we will see the agency functions. Here the commercial banks perform the certain agency functions also. One on certain occasion they act as the agent of the customers. Some of the important agency functions are like the collection of dividends and the entrance from the business and the industrial firms, and acting a trust and keeping their funds in safe custody, and making the payments such as the insurance premium, income tax and the subscriptions etc. are there on behalf of their customers as per their request. Get it? So after this, now we will see the general utility functions of commercial banks. So here beside the agency functions, commercial banks provide the certain utility services to their customers also, and they are like the provision of online transfer facility of money from one bank to another, and here the endorsing and the providing guarantee to the shares issued by the joint stock companies, and also issue of the travels checks to customers to avoid the risks of carrying of cashier, and also provide the foreign exchange to the customer for the export and import in connection with their business also. After all, now we will see about the net banking. Here net banking, also called the internet or online banking, is the result of the tremendous internet revolution, exactly, which took place in the past few decades. So here it is the process of conducting a range of banking transactions over the internet, exactly. Viewing the bank statements and the status of a bank account online, some under the definitions of the net banking only. So here the mobile banking started in the India in year 2002, and since then the almost all the banks such as HDFC Net Bank and ICICI Net Bank and SBI Net Bank and Yes Net Bank and Kotak Net Bank and Axis Net Bank, etc. are performing their functional transactions over the internet. Okay, now we will see the advantages of net banking. Here in advantages of net banking, in this there is available for the 24 hours a day and 7 days of a week, exactly, and easy to apply for a majority of the services such as loans, saving accounts, mortgages and etc. on online only. So it can be used for the paying bills through one line, which saves both time and money on postage, exactly. So here the net banking is a safe and secure way to handle the finance, get it. So all these are the advantages of net banking. After net banking, now we will see the Central Bank or Reserve Bank of India and their objectives and functions. So here the central bank is the apex institution of the banking system in a country, exactly. So it controls, the regulates and supervises the activities of the country's banking system, and here the Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI, is our central bank, exactly. So it was established on the 1st April in 1935 with the share capital of rupees 5 crores only, and it was originally owned by the private shareholders but was nationalized by the government of India in 1949. So here it performs all the important functions of the central bank under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Get it? So now we will see the objectives of Reserve Bank of India. Here the Reserve Bank of India functions to achieve the objectives like regulating the issues of currency notes and achieving the money stability in the economy and controlling the credit system and providing the guardians to the commercial banks, and also involving and implementing the uniform credit policy throughout the country, exactly. So all these are the objectives of Reserve Bank of India. Now we will see the functions of Reserve Bank of India. Here Reserve Bank of India performs the functions like general functions and supervisory functions and promotional and developmental functions. So here in general functions all these will come. See, note issue, banker to the government, bankers bank, lender of the last resort, clearing house, custodian of foreign exchange reserves, control of credit. So by this we have completed part B, which is dealing with the banking. Now we will see the part C, which is dealing with inflation. Here we will see the inflation with the definitions and types. So in this inflation is one of the serious microeconomic problems controlling all the economies in the world today, exactly. So it affects the economic lives and the welfare of the people in many ways. It has the impact on production and distribution also. Inflation disturbs the budgetary allocation of the government. Sometimes it threatens the stability of the governments also. So here the rudiments of the inflation, such as its meaning, characteristics, types, causes and effects on inflation are to be understood before trying to know the measures required to control it, exactly. So for this, now we will see the types of inflation. Here inflation is divided into different types based on its pace or rate of inflation and the causes of inflation. So they like be a base on the rate of inflation. Here on the basis of the rate of inflation, it may be classified into 4 types, and they are Whereas the inflation based on the causes of inflation, in this the basis of the causes of inflation, it can be classified into two types, and they are demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. Get it here. Now we will see the causes and effects of inflation. Inflation may occur due to the reasons. Here the inflation causes thereby the excess demand or the supply storage or the increased cost of production, and the factors causing the increase in the aggregate demand for commodities are high rate of population growth, heavy investment on development projects with long gestation period, and increase in the money supply in the economy, and here the liberal availability of credit for unproductive economic activities. Exactly. After this, now we will see the factors causing an increase the cost of production here. In this, the increase in the cost of land, rent, wages, rates and interest rates are there. So, increase in indirect taxes rates and import of machinery and equipment at higher prices and lack of optimum allocation of resources, and here the devaluation of domestic currency and efficiency in management and lack of control over wasteful expenditure. Get it here. So, after the factors causing and increase the cost of production, now we will see about the factor causing the inadequate supply. In this, non-availability or inadequate availability of inputs and raw materials are there, and long gestation period of certain industries and export at the cost of domestic supply, and the artificial scarcity due to the black marketing. Exactly. So, all these are the factors. Now, we will see the effect of inflation. Here the inflation affects the economic activities such as production, distribution, social and political relations in an economy. So, here on production. So, here the mild inflation stimulates the production as is increase the profit margin of entrepreneurs, and the highly inflation rate or hyperinflation hinders production, and here the inflation discourages the savings, and this affects the capital formation, which in the turn affects the production. Exactly. So, this is on production. Now, we will see the on distribution. Here the pact of inflation is not uniform on all the sections of the people. Here it affects the certain sections of the people advisory, while the certain other sections gain because of inflation. So, this can be elaborated as fixed income group, working class, debtors and creditors, consumer and entrepreneurs. After on distribution, now we will see the on social justice front. Here the economic inequality leads to the unequal opportunities in matter of health, education and employment also. Exactly. So, this result in the social injustice. Get it here. So, after the on social justice front, now we will see the on political front. Here in this, the inflation winds the social and economic disparities, which causes the frustrations among the sufferers. Exactly. So, this provides the opportunity for the political movements, and if the government is not responsive, the movements may threaten the stability of governments. Exactly. So, all these are the causes and factors of the inflation. Now, we will see the remedial measures. Here in this remedial measures, government has to take the several steps to control the inflation. Exactly. Some of them are enlisted, like importing the goods which are in short supply in the country, and the controlling prices and eliminating the black markets, and also the taking steps to increase the production of consumer goods, and also the reducing the supply of money and credit by the way of implementing the appropriate money and fiscal policies. Exactly. So, by this we have completed our chapter 9, that is money, banking and inflation. Thank you.